Hi, I hope all is well with you and that you are staying safe. It's over 100 days of war since October 7th. Our brave soldiers have made impressive progress, destroying many terrorists and much of our enemy's infrastructure. But the price has been unfathomable and excruciatingly painful. So many young men have lost their lives, and so many hostages are languishing in captivity. Why are we going through this? What does the Ribono Shel Olam want from us? Perhaps we can find an answer in this week's Parsha of Va'era. After suffering in slavery for so many years, Hashem tells Moshe, "V'gam ani shamati es na'akas b'nei Yisrael." I've heard the anguishing cry of b'nei Yisrael, and I am ready to redeem them from Mitzrayim. Rabbeinu Bachya teaches us that b'nei Yisrael should have been redeemed sooner, but they weren't deserving of being freed. This changed when their crying to Hashem reached a fervent pitch. He also teaches us that our final redemption will not happen until we sincerely cry out to Hashem in sincere prayer over the hardships of being in Galus. I must admit that when I saw this Rabbeinu Bachya, I found it very difficult to understand. If what he is saying is true, haven't we been crying and fervently pleading to the Ribono Shel Olam during the past 100 days over the terrible loss of so many wonderful sons of Israel who had their lives cut so very short, and over the hostages who undoubtedly have been tortured and have been living in conditions reminiscent of the Holocaust? Why haven't we been redeemed? What does the Ribono Shel Olam want from us? I'm not a Navi, and my shoulders are certainly not broad enough to claim that I have any understanding of the ways of Hashem. However, I'm able to stand on the shoulders of our Chachamim and learn from their teachings. I remember when the United States was going through a serious financial meltdown in 2008, many very wealthy people literally lost all of their money and were living in dire poverty. One such individual turned to a good friend of mine, Rabbi Menachem Nissel, and asked him, why did Hashem do this to him? Rabbi Nissel, who by the way has just released a classic work on the life and teachings of the Moshe Shapiro Zatzal, turned to his Rebbe and asked him, what should he reply? Rav Moshe said, you can't tell him this, but I would love to tell him that if he didn't ask the Ribono Shel Olam, why me, when he blessed him with so much wealth, he has no right to ask him now, why me, now that he lost that wealth. There's no question that we've all been beseeching Hashem for the success in this conflict and the safe release of all the captives. But think about it. We are pleading with Hashem now that we are suffering and are in pain. Did we thank him enough and recognize the wonderful brachos that he has bestowed upon us in our individual lives and certainly on a national level? 75 years ago, we were destitute. More than a third of our people were slaughtered. The main yeshivas we had were in Europe, and they were all destroyed. Yiddishkeit didn't seem to have any future, chas v'shalom. There were a handful of yeshivas in the United States with very few students, and most of our Talmidei Chachamim were no longer with us. The state of Israel, which just declared its formation, was being overrun by Arabs seeking to annihilate all of its citizens. Yet, miraculously, we survived, and today we have a nation of so many who are committed to Limud HaTorah and to Shmiras HaMitzvos. We have a flourishing state of Israel that has more yeshivos than has ever existed in our history. When we have nisyonos, difficulties, we turn to Hashem, but perhaps we don't turn to him enough when he blesses us way beyond our expectations. We say Modem Anachnu Lach Nishman Esrei, but perhaps we should say it more slowly and with more kavanah, thinking about what the words really mean and how much the Ribono Shel Olam gives us. Chazal teach us that Hashem loves us and wants a relationship with us, and he wants us to realize that everything comes from him. We need to turn to him not only in the difficult times, but also in the good times by recognizing Ein Od Milvado. There is nothing but Hashem. Everything that we have is only through his benevolence. We need to continue to daven and plead for an end to this conflict, but we also must work on our understanding that all aspects of our lives are ultimately in the hands of our Creator. May he accept our tefillos and redeem us from this bitter exile. Called to.